Today we're going to talk about detox reactions as they pertain to the skin. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. Even if you've used only natural products all your life from the time you were a baby, you're still going to have some toxicity in the skin. Why? Because we live in this toxic world where we're burning fossil fuels, coal in particular. There's all this stuff in the air, okay? And the stuff in the air attaches to the skin. Our skin is exposed to the air constantly. We're wearing clothes, unless you're wearing completely organic clothes and all natural detergents from the time you were born, then we're picking up stuff from our clothes. What do I mean? Cotton, okay? Cotton is an extremely dirty crop. It's sprayed with a number of different sprays. The cotton itself is usually, in today's cotton is a Roundup Ready, so they spray tons of Roundup on there to kill the weeds. So you got Roundup, which is on the cotton fibers, and then you get this stuff that's akin to Agent Orange, it's like a cousin of Agent Orange, that they use to defoliate the cotton before they harvest it. So there's a lot of toxins associated with the cotton production, and those chemicals stay in the fibers, and we're getting some of those on our clothes. Okay, you say, well, I don't use cotton, I use nylon. Okay, well, that's plastic. Okay, so the plastic residues. What I'm saying is, we can do the best we can to have all natural skin products, and that's going to be an important element, but we are going to have some amount of toxicity associated with just the exposures of us in our modern world. We also have some pretty challenging dietary stuff if you've ever been exposed to partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, which is sort of a plasticized version of vegetable oil, if you've ever had some artificial fragrances and preservatives and things like that, that stuff can get trapped in the system and eventually have to come out. If our digestive system has been weak or overloaded, we end up getting those eruptions out on the skin. So the skin has to deal with that as well. So let's look at what I'm saying is detox reactions. What do they look like as we start to look at cleansing the skin? Now, we've been doing in our program some dry brushing, right? So we're getting the circulation. Remember our wellness strategy, right? Stop poisoning the skin, flood the skin with nutrients, which includes circulation, and then manage the stress to the skin, and then also our emotional stress, which we're going to have a couple talks on that. But for the moment, let's just talk about physical stress. So because there's emotional stress as well. Okay, so again, we obviously we can choose natural personal care products, which I prefer Young Living essential oil products, because they have the fabulous, good quality, pure, really, really good quality essential oils. The problem with many personal care products out there that are labeled natural, and then they have essential oils added to them, is the essential oil is the bad part of the ingredient package. In other words, they've got all these fabulous things, and then they use a bad quality oil. Why? Because the oils are expensive. If you make a good quality essential oil, it's expensive. It's like a fine wine. And so it raises the cost of the product, and people don't want to pay that, so the company will just compromise and have a good enough essential oil, which is not good enough for me. I don't want anything synthetic in there. And even companies that are diligent about making sure they only source good quality essential oils are still end up, because they're not testing their own oils, they're not third-party testing, they're not doing their homework, and there's just so much flooded poor quality stuff flooded out on the market in terms of essential oils. And the FDA does not have a definition of an essential oil, so they can put whatever they want on the bottle, and it can be some completely synthetic wintergreen, for example, and never came from a wintergreen plant. They never harvested a wintergreen plant, never touched a wintergreen plant, and yet they can call it wintergreen oil, even though it's completely methyl salicylate, synthetic methyl salicylate. So that is a big problem from a standpoint of our FDA labeling, but because it's cosmetic, yada, yada. Okay, so we're not going to go there. Anyway, I've talked a lot about that. So let's get on to skin reactions or detox reactions. Okay, what happens in the skin? Now, I'm going to classify this, and there's probably more than this, but I'm going to put it into two basic categories. We're going to have sort of eruptions. That is a change of chemistry on the skin that results in a bacterial growth or some kind of oil blockage or something. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have the actual chemical burn process, that's some kind of chemical reaction that the toxin that's coming out is reacting and irritating the skin. Okay, so first of all, across the board, we can minimize the effect of any kind of detox reaction by having a healthy immune system. Now, let me clarify, I mean, having a healthy immune system and inflammation system. The immune system and inflammation system work together. They work in tandem, but they can also be both out of control. So we want to make sure we have a very healthy and very good balance, very well balanced inflammation system and immune system. Now, the inflammation system is critical. We have to have inflammation. So we're not making any claims here. I'm just saying inflammation is a natural process, and we have to. It has to be balanced. If our inflammation is too high, now how do we end up with inflammation that's too high? We have a lot of oxidative stress, which means we don't have enough antioxidants. If we want to protect our base inflammatory system from getting out of control, one of the regulators for that is having in place already in the body enough of your antioxidants, both fat-soluble and water-soluble antioxidants, okay? So we definitely want to support and supplement antioxidants, okay? We want to get those in there. The other thing is, obviously, don't get exposed to toxins. Minimize our exposure. Minimize our stress, because our stress, adrenaline, ramps up the energy system. When we eat sugar, it ramps up the energy system, the mitochondrial system. The mitochondrial system ramps up. It produces energy. There is nowhere for that energy to go. The energy, I'm not running from anything. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I'm just ramping up and getting stressed. Well, that energy burns up in nervous stress and those muscle twitches and all the energy that gets burned and all the soot. When we burn energy, it's like burning coal. Okay, you get soot, you get smoke, you get residue, and that's what happens inside the cell when the mitochondria are doing it. They're increasing our metabolic load, increasing our oxidative stress, and it goes from there. So back to the skin, we can minimize the effect of a detox reaction by making sure that we have healthy, balanced inflammation system and a healthy, balanced immune system. Now, one of the things that tends to trigger the immune system, and we'll do all this talking about immune system, one of the things that tends to trigger the immune system are small amounts of heavy metals, particularly methylmercury. Okay, so we want to make sure we can detox our metals, and that's done through nutritional sulfur. We've got to have enough sulfur. Where have I heard this before? Okay, so we need our nutritional sulfur, we need our antioxidants, and that's your base level to maintain a healthy response so that now our detox reactions don't go out of control, right? Because you will, at some point, have a detox reaction. That's kind of going to happen. We've accumulated enough stuff. It's time to get that stuff out. Now, like I said, there's kind of two types of detox reactions, and then I'll just mention a little bit about what to do with them. But the one detox reaction is when this chemistry changes in the skin and you end up with an eruption. Here's where you've actually got some kind of bacteria that's growing, a pimple, a blackhead, a whitehead, or some kind of mixture of, or even some kind of something that looks like an irritated, raised kind of thing that looks like it has a microbe associated with it. In other words, the immune system has dropped, and now we've got this thing coming out. Now, the detox reaction is actually happening from inside, right? There's toxins that are released, and it's coming out on the skin as basically an infection. And so what we need to be looking at doing is making sure we have a good, strong immune system. We've got to go back to the immune system and build that up, okay? And so I just talked about some of the ways to do that. We need to support with nutritional sulfur. We need to make sure we get our antioxidants, and minerals and vitamin C are all excellent ones to support the immune system. And we'll talk a lot more about that at a later date, but when we get to the immune system part. But so there also, it would make sense to make sure we're doing washes, good quality, clean, natural soap, and having the cleansing power of thieves, for example, in the soap might be a good way, again, just to make sure we have a gentle cleanse it's been proven that if you just wash your hands with some soap, you take care of 99% of the microbial bacteria and that kind of stuff. I don't mean to say you kill it, I'm saying you wash it off. So just taking a shower and making sure you're washing on a regular basis. You can also do Epsom salts bath and things like that. And then, of course, add essential oils to the Epsom salts bath that are very soothing, right? You've got your lavender and chamomile, very soothing for the skin if you've got an irritated skin. Now, On the flip side, we've got this reaction that's happening on the skin that's more chemical. It's like a burn, okay? And that's where the skin can get really cracked and irritated. And so now what do? Now here we really have to soothe the skin. Now we might have to back off on the detox process if we are doing something that's pushing toxins out, or if you're talking about a local area that has poor circulation. And we'll get to that also as later on in the month here, talking about skin, where we have a local place that we chronically get blocked up, and that's where it's got poor circulation. That could be posture related, it could be lymph related, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But if we're doing our dry brushing, let's say I had a patch, right here on the elbow. I mean, I don't, but I mean, let's say I had one right here. What would I do from a dry brushing perspective? Well, I would really want to make sure the lymph drainage points in this part here, the armpit and the clavicle, would be open. So I would really want to spend some time opening this up, because I really want this to drain. The reason it's coming out on the skin is that it's trapped and doesn't have anywhere else to go, so it has to come out. If it was in the lower body, I would open up the groin layers. If it's on the back or systemic, I might have to do something a little bigger, okay? Again, Epsom salts is a great way, Epsom salts baths, great way to do it. Now, it could be that the body is detoxing too fast, and that's where you have to back off in the essential oils. Essential oils can be really good detoxers. I love them for that reason, but it could be too much for someone who's in the midst of a detox reaction. So it is okay to back off on your essential oils, both internally and externally, and just go back to something pretty simple like your water and your Epsom salts bath, and maybe the sulfurzyme and Super C to support the body's cleansing process and keep the immune system up, okay? So these are some just basic tips here. I know we're going real quick through this, but this is what I mean by this detox reactions on the skin and how we can help that a little bit to open up the lymphatic system during, in targeted areas if we need to. If it's more systemic, then we're going to work at backing off on the essential oils and doing your breathing and getting your water and that kind of thing. So hopefully that will help to calm things down. Now, if you have the really cracked and irritated skin, you can go for the salves, the ointments. I actually I like the animal scent ointment, the rose ointment. Those are good. If you're vegan, then you can go for the new body butter as an ointment. Okay, very soothing. Or you can just use a coconut oil. Is also a very soothing ointment, just plain old straight coconut oil. Now, just to be clear, I like food grade coconut oil when I'm talking about coconut oil for a cosmetic. I've seen a lot of coconut stuff out there, and I'm like, I wouldn't touch that. So I just use food grade, organic, unrefined coconut oil if I'm going to do something even for a cosmetic. Okay? I just do it food grade. Okay, so that's just a little tip there. All right. I know I've thrown a lot at you, but hopefully this kind of clarifies a few things. There's a few action steps here. I just don't know what your situation is. So if you have some questions or comments or something you want to talk about in the area of skin detox, we're halfway through our month supporting the skin. Chances are some of you out there have started to get some process moving in the body, and now we're starting to see some things coming out. Hopefully, if we've done our work correctly here, this won't happen because you've cleared the elimination system, your digestion, the blood and lymph, and the lungs before this, right? We've got this whole wellness process. Do you see how I've worked this up so that really by the time we get to this 5th month doing the skin, we should be pretty good. Not to say that there aren't moments of detox, okay? And when I get that very, very early sign of detox, what do? I drink my water, I take my Super C, and I take my Ninja Red and my sulfurzyme. Those are my products I go to at the very first sign of detox. Okay, like I said, I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, but take a few notes, go back and watch it again. Anyway, day at a time. Let me know if I can help with any kind of feedback on this issue of skin detox, okay? Happy wellness, one day at a time. We'll see you tomorrow.